5 groundbreaking technical innovations have already leaked from Formula One's supposedly secretive Barcelona shakedown testing, and they reveal just how radically different the 2026 cars will be from anything we've seen before. After 5 days of testing that was meant to be private, enough secrets have spilled out to completely reshape our understanding of Formula One's new era. Here's what really happened in Barcelona. Formula One called this a shakedown to downplay the significance, but this was effectively the first official test of the 2026 season. All 11 teams ran for 3 days across a 5-day period from January 26th to 30th, and the technical revelations have been absolutely staggering. The first major secret that's been fully exposed is the active aerodynamics system, and it's far more complex than anyone anticipated. Every 2026 car now features movable front and rear wing elements that drivers can control, with buttons on their steering wheel. But here's what makes this revolutionary. This isn't just a replacement for the drag reduction system. The system operates in 2 distinct modes: corner mode for maximum downforce in turns, and straight mode for reduced drag on straights. What's fascinating is how this changes the entire strategic landscape. Drivers will constantly communicate with their race engineers about energy management because the active aero system connects directly to the car's electrical systems. Each circuit will have designated zones where straight mode can be activated, fundamentally altering how drivers approach different sections of track. We're talking about a complete reimagining of racecraft. The energy management component leads us to the second major revelation: the dramatic power unit transformation. The 2026 power units now feature an almost perfect 50-50 split between electrical energy and the internal combustion engine, representing a 300% increase in electrical power compared to the previous generation. The motor generator unit Kinetic now produces 350 kilowatts compared to the previous 120 kilowatts, while the amount of energy that can be recuperated during braking has doubled to 8.5 megajoules per lap. But here's where it gets really interesting. The testing revealed that teams are introducing new terminology to describe these systems. Boost mode refers to normal energy recovery system deployment for defending or attacking. Recharge describes when cars are harvesting electrical energy. And overtake mode is a special setting that deploys extra stored energy, but only when a driver is within 1 second of the car ahead. This creates an entirely new dynamic for wheel-to-wheel racing. The third technical bombshell that emerged from Barcelona is what's being called the Mousehole diffuser innovation. Both Ferrari and Mercedes have incorporated significant holes in their lower bodywork around the diffuser area. This allows airflow from external surfaces to switch to the diffuser's inner wall, energizing the airflow and potentially generating more downforce from the rear of the car. This detail might seem minor, but it represents a completely different aerodynamic philosophy. The Mousehole concept appeared in pre-2022 cars, but its return in 2026 suggests teams have found new ways to exploit the revised regulations. The fact that both Ferrari and Mercedes independently arrived at this solution indicates it's likely a fundamental performance advantage rather than a design quirk. Adrian Newey's Aston Martin has revealed the fourth major technical secret: a radical suspension architecture that technical experts describe as on another level. The AMR26 features what analysts call a multi-link wishbone arrangement, with the upper rear leg of the assembly placed lower and further back on the chassis than ever seen before in Formula One. This isn't just about suspension geometry. Newey has also incorporated distinctive design elements like a pair of horns attached to the side of the airbox, remarkably similar to his McLaren MP420 from 2005. The sidepod inlet features an underbite that's virtually identical to the Red Bull RB19 that dominated the 2023 season. These aren't coincidences. They're signatures of Newey's aerodynamic philosophy being applied to the new regulations. The Aston Martin also showcases how different teams are interpreting the new rules. While most teams have adopted double pushrod suspension setups, Aston Martin's implementation is uniquely radical. The car's belated track debut actually stemmed from Newey identifying inconsistencies between simulator readings and wind tunnel data during the summer, forcing the team to completely rethink their aerodynamic package. The fifth and perhaps most significant technical revelation is Mercedes' unique front wing design philosophy. The W17 features a completely different mounting location for the front wing, creating a channel under the nose with just one movable flap on each side. This is a radically different interpretation of the active aerodynamics regulations compared to every other team on the grid. This design choice has massive implications. While other teams have opted for more conventional active front wing layouts, Mercedes appears to have found a way to integrate the movable elements more seamlessly with their overall aerodynamic concept. The channel under the nose likely affects how air flows around the entire front section of the car, potentially giving Mercedes an edge in overall aerodynamic efficiency. But the technical secrets don't stop there. The testing revealed a fascinating split in suspension philosophies across the grid. Ferrari has newly adopted pushrod actuation for both front and rear suspensions, joining Mercedes, Red Bull and Racing Bulls in this configuration. However, Alpine and Cadillac have chosen to retain pull rod suspension at the front, suggesting there are multiple valid approaches to the new regulations. This suspension split is more significant than it appears. Push rod and pull rod systems affect how teams package their aerodynamics around the suspension components, influencing everything from airflow management to weight distribution. The fact that teams are making different choices suggests the optimal solution isn't obvious, leaving room for competitive advantages to emerge throughout the season. Another crucial revelation from Barcelona involves what teams are calling in-washing floorboards. These elements appear similar to the banned barge boards from the pre-2022 era, but they serve the opposite function. While old barge boards directed turbulent air away from the car, these new elements are specifically designed to direct airflow inward, narrowing the aerodynamic wake and potentially improving the racing experience for following cars. The testing also exposed the true impact of the revised Downforce regulations. Originally, the International Automobile Federation planned to reduce downforce by over 40%, but this was revised to approximately 15% for safety and performance reasons. The result is that 2026 cars will be roughly 2 seconds slower per lap than the current generation rather than the 4 seconds initially projected. This downforce reduction, combined with the 30-kilogram weight reduction in smaller dimensions, 20 centimeters shorter and 10 centimeters narrower, fundamentally changes how these cars behave on track. Drivers who've tested the cars describe them as handling completely differently, particularly in high-speed corners where the reduced aerodynamic load is most noticeable. The reliability story from Barcelona has been remarkable compared to previous major regulation changes. When Formula One last underwent such a dramatic overhaul in 2014, teams completed just 93 laps combined on the first day of testing. This time, individual teams were completing hundreds of laps daily. Mercedes alone logged over 500 laps across their 3 allocated days, while the collective Mercedes engine family completed approximately 1,000 laps. Red Bull's maiden voyage with their Ford-partnered power unit exceeded all expectations. The Red Bull and Racing Bulls teams combined for 623 laps, with drivers expressing surprise at how smoothly everything operated. This is particularly significant considering Red Bull powertrains essentially built their engine program from scratch in what was literally a field just a few years ago. However, not every manufacturer had such a smooth introduction. Audi struggled with reliability issues, completing only 243 laps and causing several red flag periods. The German manufacturer clearly has work to do before the Bahrain tests in February. Similarly, Aston Martin's integration with Honda as their new engine partner showed signs of strain, with the team completing the fewest laps of any participant. The performance hierarchy that emerged from Barcelona suggests Mercedes and Ferrari are currently ahead of the pack. Lewis Hamilton's fastest lap of 1 minute, 16.348 seconds, was remarkably close to last year's Spanish Grand Prix fastest lap, indicating these cars aren't dramatically slower despite the regulation changes. George Russell's 1 minute, 16.445 seconds on day 4 further emphasized Mercedes' strong position. But perhaps the most intriguing technical controversy brewing involves compression ratios in the power units. Reports suggest Mercedes and potentially Red Bull have found ways to circumvent the new 16:1 compression ratio limit through thermal expansion engineering. By designing pistons or other components that expand as the engine reaches operating temperature, these manufacturers might achieve effective compression ratios closer to 18:1, potentially worth 10 to 15 horsepower and 0.4 of a second per lap. This has prompted formal complaints from Ferrari, Audi, and Honda, who fear 8 Mercedes-powered cars could enjoy a significant power advantage throughout 2026. The International Automobile Federation is now investigating this potential loophole, with engine homologations set for March 1st, providing a deadline for resolution. Looking ahead to the official Bahrain tests in February, teams will arrive with dramatically different levels of preparation. Williams missed Barcelona entirely due to production delays, while teams like Mercedes and Ferrari head to Bahrain with hundreds of laps of data and solved reliability issues. The 2026 season beginning March 6th in Australia will showcase whether these technical innovations translate to on-track performance advantages. With active aerodynamics, revolutionary power units, and radical design philosophies all converging, we're witnessing the birth of a completely new era in Formula One. One where the technical secrets revealed in Barcelona are just the beginning of what promises to be the most technologically advanced championship in motorsport history.